for me, this is the first time I thought during his chasing career where he's done everything brilliant, that the first time I think, you know what, he could get beaten in the Arkle here. And this, for me, the Stayers Hurdle, is one of the most open races at the festival this season, because when we've talked about the race, it's full of absolute nut jobs, these horses. You just don't know what they are, aren't they? They're all headbangers.
For a motley crew. And welcome to episode 11 of the Inside Track, brought to you by William Hill, where it's just James Mackie and I this week for a shorter show than usual, because we're going to be reviewing the action that was at Warwick as well as Exeter, and some good Irish action as well, with some potential implications on the Cheltenham Festival. Our Ante-Post racing focus is going to be the Stayers Hurdle, and we're also going to be having an early look ahead to this weekend's action from Ascot and Wincanton. So James, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, but we were together last week, weren't we, in person? Back over Zoom today. But yeah, we've got some good action from the weekend to discuss, and obviously looking ahead to the Ascot Chase as well. So yeah, should be a good one.
Definitely. So like I say, we're back in our little Zoom boxes again this week, not in person, but lots to discuss. And we're going to start with Jonbon, James. Obviously winning the Kingmaker, a two-runner race at Warwick. But what were your takeaways?
Yeah, firstly, it was a shame to only see one other horse take on Jonbon. You don't want to see that over in England. We discussed it on previous shows as well. But it's happened, and it's going to keep happening all season long. But anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, he took on Calico. He was 136 rated chaser. He should have come out and absolutely demoralised this horse, put it into the ground and win by 20 odd lengths. It didn't happen, did it? Harry Skelton tried to scoot up the inside and win the race there when Jonbon was probably a bit complacent. One thing that was nice to see was that he had to go from just being really slow, trotting around, to putting on the turbo to get there. And he did win by just under 6 lengths. Look, for me, it was disappointing. It wasn't the performance you want to see. You do this against El Fabiolo in the Arkle, you won't be catching El Fabiolo at all when he's rated much better than that horse. Look, Nicky Henderson is not going to have him 100% at all for this race. He will be in the Arkle. But for me, this is the first time I thought during his chasing career where he's done everything brilliant, that the first time I think, you know what, he could get beaten in the Arkle here. Not to say that he will, but the performance El Fabiolo put up on his last start in the DRF was 10 times this performance, wasn't it? So for me, the prices now reflect where El Fabiolo and Jonbon should be in the market. I think they're bang on. El Fabiolo should be favourite. I think Jonbon has got it to do off the back of that performance, but it's not to say that he can't improve to where he should be going forward. So yeah, it was disappointing, but maybe not one to write off yet, because he is still a class act, isn't he?
Definitely so. And he's now 7-4 with us here at William Hill, non-runner money back for the Arkle, where he did touch evens before the weekend. So that just goes to show that the majority of traders took a more of a dim view on his performance rather than a positive one. And in comparison to El Fabiolo now, he's going to have his work cut out to win the British another race. But the British may well win another race with Lucia, dependent on where she's going to go, of course. Dividing opinion as well, Nicky Henderson's mare, whether or not she goes for the Supreme or the Mares Novices Hurdle. But she was very impressive at Exeter on Sunday, James.
Yeah, and this is my idea of the winner of the Mares Novices Hurdle. She could go to the Supreme. I personally think, why wouldn't you go here? Look, we know we talked about dilution in racing, and maybe the Mares Novices shouldn't be there, so she should go for the Supreme, but it is there, and everyone wants to win races at the Cheltenham Festival. She's got a much better chance of winning the Mares Novices than she has the Supreme. I know she'd get the £7 allowance, but it's a good race. Vassal Vega's going to bounce back. Marine National's a good horse. Ildelite Tom's performance is brilliant, whereas she's probably only got to beat Astro Diamond and Night and Day, which they are good horses. But what she's put up, and what she's beat the boys twice now over hurdles, what she did in the bumper days, yes, her jumping wasn't the greatest, Exeter, and she's still got to brush up on that. But she's got some engine, this horse. She's got some serious engine. And I think she's into 7-4 now from 9-4 with William Hill. Look, it might be a little bit skinny, and I know she's a favourite now for that race, but she's my idea of the Mares Novices Hurdle winner, because I think she's got that class to her. Not saying the others haven't, but from what we've seen, I just think she's absolutely superb. Yes, she got to brush up on her jumping, but yeah, it was a great performance, wasn't it? It was great to see for the British.
And after we've had a week of bubbles burst for the British with Queen's Gamble, Rare Edition getting beaten, Jonbon not putting up the performance that we hoped, we may well be able to win the Champion Hurdle, Constitution Hill, the Mares Novices Hurdle, should she go down it with Lucia, might win the Champion Chase with Edwardstone, potentially the Ballymore then with Hermes Alem, but it's kind of slim pickings at the minute for the British, so we need anyone to fly the flag for us that we can. One horse that's not going to be flying the flag for us, but made a really impressive winning return was Blazing Carl in the Grade 2 William Hill Boyne Hurdle. James, how taken were you by that performance? Yeah,
it was probably my performance of the weekend, actually, Kate, because what this horse did, yes, he wasn't the greatest field in the world in that Boyne Hurdle, but when a lot of horses might be running for a prep race before Cheltenham, like Delta Work, your Beacon Edges, like they are going to be probably going on for better things later on down the season, but to come off a break of 428 days, having setback after setback, not knowing whether you're going to return, then to come out and stay and jump brilliantly and look like you want to go further, you can see why now he's at the top of the market for the Stayers Hurdle. I thought it was a brilliant performance. Obviously, when you're looking maybe slightly ahead, that he's going to come on and improve for that run, definitely. And Charles Burns, look, we all know what he's like as a trainer. I would love to know how ready this horse was. Do you know what I mean? And how much he's got more to give. But look, it was performance of the weekend. But for me, for the layoff, he showed, if you're on a bigger prices, he showed me everything you'd want to see from the horse. So yeah, can't knock it at all. And Blazing Carl has a serious chance, doesn't he, in that Stayers Hurdle?
Yeah, now the Boyne Hurdle did give us a brilliant segue to this week's Ante-Post Race in Focus. Well done, James, for this editorial layout of this week's show, because, of course, we're looking ahead to the Stayers Hurdle, and the market with us currently reads as William Hill non-runner money back, Blazing Carl as a 2-to-1 market leader, Tia Hooper at 3-to-1, Marie's Rock at 4-to-1, Home by the Lee 5-to-1, and dual defending champion 6-to-1, Flooring Porter, and it's 7-to-1 bar. So, James, you said that Blazing Carl was your performance of the weekend. How do you see him, though, in the context of the Stayers Hurdle?
This is where you have to be analytical, isn't it? Because, yes, it was my performance of the weekend. And yes, you can only talk positively about that performance for me. And he's into favourite now. But when you come to talk about a different race at the Stayers Hurdle, you've got to look at price. You've got to bring in all different things that's going to happen. And this, for me, the Stayers Hurdle is one of the most open races at the festival this season, because when we talked about the race, it's full of absolute nut jobs, these horses. You just don't know what
yeah.
they are, aren't they? They're all headbangers.
For a motley crew, yeah.
They really are. And a lot of the horses in here, maybe this season, aren't to what the same nut job standard as what they've been with other horses that you don't know. You know they're going to stay. You know they're going to work hard. But you don't actually know how they're going to perform on the day. So look, you're looking through the market. Blazing Carl's at the top of the market off the back of what he did, and I think rightly so. He's a younger horse and he's got progression to come. Same with Tia Hooper, who's put up 2 great performances. He's beat Honeysuckle, and then he came out of Gorham Park in soft ground and put up another great performance. Yes, for me, he didn't beat all that much, and I personally think he needs soft ground, Tia Hooper, which, if you look at past runnings of the Stayers Hurdle, maybe you haven't got. That's why I'd maybe rule that horse in at the price he's at. So there was 2 I looked at in this field. Look, you know me, I love Paisley Park, but I think he's a bit of an old boy now, and I think just a younger horse might just beat him on the day. Not to say he won't run well at his current price. I can't have the French horse because I know you won the Cleve Hurdle, Gold Tweet, but I don't think personally that's enough form to go off to go and win this race. Look, he could come out and he could be the diamond in the pack that just basically says, look, we don't know that much about him. We've seen him once. Yes, he's done it over the course and distance, but you've got to come and get again and show it for me. And he's at a shorter price. So the 2 I looked at were Home by the Lee at 5-to-1 and Marie's Rock. And look, I'd be happy to probably play both from a perspective that we know Marie's Rock is in the Mares Hurdle market at short price. But that race is probably the best run all I've seen of that Mares Hurdle ever in my lifetime, because it could have Epatton, Honeysuckle, Love Embois, Brandy Love, as well as Marie's Rock. So maybe when you're looking at the Stayers, you might go, shall I have a go? But will she get the extra trip? I think she probably will. And that's why you have non-running money back. And I think she's around 4-to-1. So the way she won at Cheltenham last time out, I wouldn't put anyone off Marie's Rock. And obviously she'll get the sex allowance, won't she, in the Stayers? So look, that's a viable option, I think, at 4-to-1. But the one I'd probably be a little bit stronger on, and the one I came down on the end was Home by the Lee for Joe O'Brien.
Finally, someone agreeing.
And the reason why I went for it is just like I was saying at the start. He's a bit of a headbanger. That if you look at what this horse does and what he did last time, he actually travelled beautifully into the race and still stayed. Whereas these races before, all he's done, JJ Slevin's been off the bridle, and he's stayed better than anything. If you look at a lot of the stayers that have won races in the Stayers Hurdle race, they've been off the bridle and then they've found more. Where this horse has showed it can do it, and now in its last race, went up to 3 mile in the Christmas Hurdle at Leopardstown. I've never seen it travel like that. If you actually go back and look at the Stayers Hurdle last season when he was a 33-1 shot, he finished 6th. But he only finished 7.5 lengths behind the winners. And he was the one that was a massive eye catcher in the race, staying up the rail, because he was staying. I think he's a classier horse this year. For his year older, he's matured massively. And it was just that in this race, you need a horse that gets home. And this definitely will. I just hope he travels like he did do it at Christmas. And I like a horse that's been saved from Christmas. I haven't needed the run in between. He's been saved, he'll be tuned up. And at 5-1, I just thought he was a better price than the 3 ahead of him in the market. Not to say Marie's Rocky's in a good show, and I like that horse, but if you had to put a gun to my head at this stage and ask me to pick one horse in that Stayers Hurdle, Home by the Lee at 5-1 would be my selection at this point.
I say I'm glad that you agree, because I've been saying this along the whole time. I don't know what more he has to do to prove himself to people, yet you're still getting 5-1 about him as he's being pushed back out then after the weekend. And I sort of just think, what more does Home by the Lee literally have to do here? So total agreement, the pair of us, with Home by the Lee for the Stayers Hurdle. Now, we do have more action coming up this weekend where we could do with a rain shower or two this week. I don't think the forecast currently predicts that we're going to get it. Hopefully, though, we will get more runners this weekend at Ascot, which stages the Grade 1 Ascot Chase on Saturday. So, James, your early assessments of that race?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to look past the top 2 in the market. And just from a price point of view at this stage, 5-4 Fakir Dudaris, 9-4 Shishkin. I'm going back to my old mate Shishkin here, and I'm giving him a one last final chance. Yeah. I adore this horse. I couldn't have him for the Tingle Creek, just from coming in. It was a good race. Grenadine was there with his record at Sandown. Edward Stone was a bit of unknown. Obviously, he came out and bolted up. But what I saw from Shishkin, he didn't jump well enough. He didn't look right. And look, I would, before what's happened in the Champion Chase, and obviously before the news of Allaho today coming out the Ryanair, I always thought that I'd go back and supplement him for the Champion Chase, and I'd let it have a go at 2 miles, because I do think he'll get 2 mile 4, but he's not a slow horse. He's a very, very quick horse. I think the right decision's been made now, and only today have I probably thought that, because if Allaho was in the race, he'd be very tough to beat, regardless if he's had no run going there. He's such a wide open race. And I honestly think now that Shishkin at 9-4, and we've actually got an offer that should be on the bottom of your screen, that it's Shishkin to win the Ascot Chase and then go on to win the Ryanair. And I think at 7-1, that could be a really, really good price after this weekend. I think he might just have the beating of Fakir Dudaris, and I like that horse as well. But if you look at Shishkin, yes, he's 9 years of age and Fakir is 8. Fakir's been raced throughout his career, where Shishkin's obviously had that little bit of time off with Nicky Henderson horses there. They are planned to only probably race 3 times a season. So he might just be the fresher horse. Look, he's had his problems. He's had the rare bone condition when he was pulled up at the Cheltenham Festival last season. But before that, he was everyone's superstar, Supreme winner, Arkle winner, 10 races unbeaten, multiple Grade 1 winner, winning Grade 2s all over the shop. Do you know what I mean? He just couldn't get beat. I just think he will get that. He will get that 2 mile 4 or 2 mile 5 in this race. I think he'll show a lot of speed. I just think he's a better horse than Fakir Dudaris. Look, he's got to prove it. He's got to come back and show it, because his last 2 runs, as I say, in the Champion Chase and the Tingle Creek, are nowhere near good enough to go and win this race. So you are taking it on chance that that Nicky Henderson's got it back to where they think he's going to be. But I honestly think at 9-4, he's probably the play here with Fakir 5-4. So look, he's tentative, and he's maybe talking with my heart to try and get Shishkin back to where I think he should be. But if he does show any of that old form, he'll be very, very tough to beat, won't he?
And at Wincanton, there's further graded action with the Grade 2 Kingwell Hurdle, which may give us some ideas for who might be able to finish 3rd in the Champion Hurdle, James. So assessments of this race.
Yeah, it's another tough one, isn't it? Because you've got all the old competitors going against each other. Nappers Hill, I like to move it. But First Street is the one I'm going to have a go at the current price that have come out. Nappers Hill, I think, is at the top of the market currently. And I do like Nappers Hill, and he's dropping back down to his 1 mile 7. The course and distance he's won over, beating So Royale. But just for me, First Street, obviously you've got that state man form back from the county hurdle. And if you look what he's done this season, when he won the Jerry Fielden, he was giving away nearly 2 stone that day. That's some performance, that is, against any horse to give away 2 stone. And what he's done since, obviously coming running third behind Marie's Rock, that was over further, and he will stay further, whereas Nappers Hill didn't stay the trip. So back at this distance, he's going to run a better race. But I just think First Street, from the runs this season, he's a better horse, maybe progressing slightly better. And at the current prices, I would have First Street ahead of Nappers Hill. So that's the opposite, you've got to play the other one, haven't you? So yeah, First Street for me at this stage, just from a price point of view and what they've done this season.
Right, that is almost everything from us on episode 11 of the Inside Track, brought to you by William Hill. But James, we've asked everyone else about their Ante-Post selections ahead of the Cheltenham Festival, but we haven't come back to you for a long time on this. So for a few weeks now, you've had time to think about it. So your Ante-Post selection at this stage.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time, so there's no pressure, is there? No, but we're 4 weeks away, aren't we now? So it's getting to the time where you've got to start looking at maybe the handicaps of what you think is going to go for them. And obviously you want to try and still get a price when everything's shortened in the market. So for me, the one I'm going to play, 9-2 with William Hill for the Boodles juvenile handicap hurdle. It's Timecodes. It's the one at the top of the market. But I think 9-2 is still a better price than what you'll get on the day, because I can only see this getting hammered. JP Horse, Willie Mullins, they all, you know what's going to happen. I still think he's got a cracking mark. But if you just look what this horse has done all season, it's a typical JP being set up for this job, because he was third on his first time over hurdles, obviously been bought from France, bought by JP, sent to Willie Mullins. But if you look at that run, he's behind Comfort Zone. Comfort Zone's come out, finished, won the finale juvenile hurdle at Chepstow, the grade 2, then went to Cheltenham, won the Triumph Trial. But don't get me wrong, they were not the greatest race in the world, but he still come out and won 2 grade 2s. That beat it. That was back in third to Timecodes. Timecodes came out at Christmas. And what I wanted to see from this horse, if you look on it on that debut, when he was third, he didn't settle. He was very keen. He went to Leopardstown, was so keen again. He did everything wrong, really, but still won the race. He only won by half a length. But if a horse is winning a race when doing everything wrong, surely there's only progression to come. So when obviously at the Dublin Racing Festival, last week or 2 weeks or so, he was shoved into a grade 1. Willie Mullins had them all. And obviously he finished third behind Gallia Marceau and Lossiemouth. He was only 12 and a half lengths behind both those horses. Well, behind the winner. But if you look at the ride Mark Walsh gave that horse, it was almost like, oh, I'm a bit close here. Oh, I want to save my mark here. So I think he could have finished a lot closer. Those are very good horses. They're both going to go for the grade 1 Triumph. I think this horse will definitely go for the Boodles. But if not, we've got the non-running money back, haven't we, William Hill? So that's what it's there for. But 12 and a half lengths behind them. He's only been given £7 for that by the Irish handicapper. So he's up to a mark of 128. He needed a few to get into the Boodles. So he's now can get in the race. The English handicapper will probably give him another few pounds. So I think he'd be maybe 131. Let's say 132. I've got no problem with that. I still think he's got a few pounds in hand. So 9-2, I think it'd be shorter on the day. And Timecodes has just been set up for this race. So yeah, Timecodes for the Boodles at 9-2.
Oh, well, thank you for that, James. And thank you so much for all of your work on this week's show. That was episode 11 of the Inside Track, brought to you by William Hill. Thank you to you for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe to the William Hill YouTube channel. Leave us a comment below as well with any of your own opinions on what we've just discussed or what we've got to look forward to as well. Thanks again for watching, and we'll speak to you again next week.